Welcome back, everyone. This is Super Kelly Brothers Podcast, episode 72. My name is Sloan Kelly.
My name is Jody Kelly.
And joining us this week is
James Baker.
Hi, James.
Hi, James. How you doing?
Good. How is everyone?
Great.
All right. It's fantastic.
During this lockdown period, what is that now? 62 days?
Full-on Groundhog Day, isn't it?
Aye,
It really
totally.
is.
Big time.
I've been working from home since March 17th, so I don't know how long that is.
That's a long time.
That is a long time. It's coming up for 2 months, I think.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
See, when I get back to work, I'm going to find it weird not breaking open a can about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I just feel this.
That's quite late, isn't it?
Well, you know.
Is it?
Depends what the weather's like, I suppose.
I'm in the water again.
Or if you get a barbecue going, you know, or a fire pit, James.
Yes, I do like to tin my pit.
Yeah, I've heard that rumour.
It's a big pit.
You stoke your pit quite a bit.
I do, actually, yeah.
Just a reminder, it's a family show.
You should
Honestly,
call it the Sarlacc pit.
It's a pretty big. I have a lot of wood in the back garden and
okay.
a lot of trees. So anyway, I digress.
Okay. So every week we start off with what did you watch? What did you do this week in entertainment? That's usually what we start off with. Normally I throw it to Jody, but seeing as we have a guest this week, Jody, I think we should let James go first. So James, what have you been watching this week?
This week I have been watching Afterlife on Netflix with Ricky Gervais.
Okay.
Yes.
So I don't know if you guys have watched it, but I think it's some of the most amazing television I've ever watched. I really, really loved it.
Yeah.
And I don't cry at all. I'm just not a crier. My tear ducts almost don't work. But on the final episode, I could feel it. I could feel it in my throat. You know, when you think, I could feel it. And then Gillian was sitting next to us, and something happened. And I just burst out crying, like really hardcore, proper tears, like I'd never experienced. I genuinely haven't experienced, not through the birth of my children, not through the death of a family member. I haven't cried as much in my entire life. So I just think it's the most amazing thing.
Not even at the end of Rogue One?
Not even at the end of Rogue One, and we'll discuss that later. So yeah, I've been watching Afterlife.
I cried at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
See, Afterlife, I think I cried my way through every single episode. I find it incredibly emotional.
It is such a good program. And then the only other thing I've been religiously watching is The Last Dance, the Michael Jordan documentary.
Yeah. On Netflix.
On Netflix. It's just amazing. I just love it so much. So they're my two things. They're my lockdown TV shows.
Did you think the Ricky Gervais thing the second season was better than the first?
I think the second season was better than the first, but you have to watch the first season to make the second season as good.
Do you know what? Sorry. I think what it was about the second season was the first season you kind of weren't ready for you're like, is this meant to be funny? Is it meant to be sad? But by the second season you kind of know what it's all about, and it's kind of, none of that. You're not bothered about any of that stuff. You just really enjoy it, and it was such an emotional roller coaster. I really enjoyed it.
So it's amazing. I would watch it again and hopefully cry again. It's so good. Yeah. They're my two shows.
Yeah, if a TV show can do that or a movie can do that, it's pretty powerful, isn't it?
Aye, totally.
Right. Oh, you want me to go next?
Is it me?
Yeah, you can go next. It's fine.
Yeah,
somebody go.
Right, I'll go.
Somebody go, or I'll start crying.
I've been watching. Well, I started watching that Code 404 on Sky. It's
All right.
Stephen
Do you know,
Graham
I couldn't find
thing.
that.
Have you tried to look for it?
Sorry, that was a internet joke.
Crikey.
Right. Okay. Right. I get it.
Is that Code 404? Is that when you page not found?
Yeah, page not
Mhm.
found.
Right. Okay.
What were your thoughts, Jody?
Actually, I didn't. Well, seeing if I hadn't seen any trailers for it, but anything that Stephen Graham's in, I tend to watch.
Who is
And
Stephen Graham? I'm not
he's the
familiar
wee
with him.
guy from
The Irishman.
The Irishman. Yep. He was in.
Tommy from Lockstock.
This is England.
Yeah, I think it is Tommy from Lockstock, but I couldn't guarantee it.
Yeah, he's the little guy.
He's in Lockstock. That's right.
Yeah,
He's Tommy.
But he's a
Yeah.
charming actor. A
Yeah.
real nice guy.
He's a
Yeah.
guy. He's the union boss in The Irishman.
Yes, he is.
Yes, yeah. He's a guy at the tense moment in Florida when they're all sitting
Yeah,
around.
he's wearing shorts and a
And the
Hawaiian
shorts.
shirt.
He's
He
a
walks
shorts
and he
guy,
goes, "Is this how you come to a meeting?"
Yeah, him. He's in.
Yeah,
He's just in top form at the moment, and
he's really
this is a great show. It's one episode in. What I didn't realise was it was a comedy. It's
Yes, it's a little bit darker here. I've not watched it.
aye. It's pretty good. It kind of reminds me of It's a little bit Red Dwarfy in a way. It's set in the future a little bit. He's like a policeman and his partner gets killed at the beginning, right? And through technology and that, they bring him back to life. But what he doesn't know is that the guy thinks he can go back into his normal, what his life was. But Stephen Graham shacked up with his wife and is now living in his house and stuff. So, and they can't tell him. So, it's good, and he's trying to basically find out who murdered them. So yeah, it's funny as well. It's like enjoyable. Really enjoyed it. So I'll be watching more of that, and I think it's only maybe 6 parts or something.
Right, good.
I watched a couple of movies. I watched The Hunt. It's on like streaming just now.
All right.
I didn't know too much about it. I heard it was kind of a bit controversial and a bit violent and stuff, but it's one of the best films I've seen for a long time. I thought it was terrific. It's basically heard this kind of story loads of times, but it's like these rich people hunting down folk that they've drugged and dumped in a forest type thing, right? But the humour in it is just brilliant. It's so dark,
wow,
and stuff, and I really, really enjoyed it.
Jody, wasn't that one of the films that Universal released for streaming because of the COVID?
They might have done. Well, I think it was released before that, but it's certainly out for that now. You can get it on Sky stores and stuff.
But I'm sure you can get it on Sky Store for about 15 or 16 quid for like 24 hours, maybe 48 hours. But it should have been one of those films that was in the cinema.
I think it might have done a week in the cinema, and then obviously this happened, and they had to do something about it, like
Scoob
2 and stuff.
I like Scoob.
Scoob, aye.
Yeah.
Scoob, yeah.
Aye. The Scooby Doo thing.
Straight to streaming.
Have you guys watched that one?
No.
I will pay for that. I've got a soft spot for Scooby Doo.
So do I. I do too. Yeah, but it's really good. It's the girl that was in the woman that was in Glow. She's one of the actresses from Glow that's in it.
Glow's amazing.
Yeah. We were talking about Glow last week actually. I can't remember the girl's name.
Alison Brie?
No. It doesn't matter. The Hunt. And then
I'll watch it.
No, it's worth watching. And the other one was Ad Astra with Brad Pitt in it.
Oh,
I think that looks brilliant.
Have you not seen it, James? No.
Oh, I've not. It's one of those things where, like, see if you get like a present on Christmas Day, you just don't want to open it, and the anticipation is probably more than maybe what the actual thing is.
Yeah,
that's what I feel about Ad Astra.
Yeah, that's why I haven't seen it till now. Right. I'll be honest with you, because I'd heard things about it, good and bad. Have you seen it, Sloan?
No, it's the one where Brad Pitt he's an astronaut and he goes to try and find his dad.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
That's
Yeah.
it. Yep.
Yeah, I
It
mean,
looked
there's
interesting, and I was like, "Oh, Brad Pitt," because I quite like Brad Pitt.
I
He's pretty good.
I I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought it was a terrific
Good.
film. It's so
Good.
well made.
That's
Two films I watched then.
Yeah, it's really good. And there's themes in it that were way above my head, but I'd like to find out about, and explore what they were actually going on about, because it's pretty deep and it's pretty kind of really well made. It looks great. Brad Pitt's tremendous in it.
Is it based on a book?
I've never seen him straight, more straight in something. You know how he's sometimes a wee bit kind of off, not off the wall, goofy like Johnny Depp, but there's always a bit of a quirk to him, his character, but plays it so straight, and I loved it. Really good. I
Good.
want to watch it again, actually.
Oh well, that's good.
Yeah. So
I like films you want to watch again.
Yeah.
That's
You know
probably
what? It's what it. Yeah. I mean, it was one of those ones that when during watching it, I was thinking about, I need to watch this again. One of those ones.
Aye.
Right,
You're
Blade
thinking,
Runner 2049.
Yeah. You
Never
like
seen
that,
it.
James? Yeah.
Never seen it. I've never seen, as much of a sci-fi geek as I am, I've not done the Blade Runner thing.
Oh, really?
Interesting.
Yeah.
No.
Well, you need to back it then, I think. That's what you need.
You think?
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
I've got them somewhere.
Yeah. Try and not do what they did, which is wait 30 years back to back them. But
Okay.
I would maybe do it in one night.
Right.
Maybe
Yeah.
two.
Okay.
One night, they're both about 2.5 hours long.
It's garbage.
5
You
hours.
do that. 5 hours, start
And
at
yet-
7, you finish at midnight.
They can be a bit Marmite to people, those films, but
Also, what else are you going to do?
that's true.
Exactly.
You get
That
plenty
is
of time to catch.
fair
I
enough.
mean, you
This
get.
is the time.
Aye. I mean, if you can't catch up in movies during this, then when can you? Although there is life, isn't there? There is life.
On
I
Mars.
suppose.
Aye, there is.
And family. Oh well.
You can invite them as well. Maybe they'd enjoy Blade Runner.
Maybe aye, maybe. There you go. That's mine. What have you been watching, Sloan?
Well, I've been going back in time. Not Back to the Future,
Back to the
but
Future?
no. So we
You're always
decided we
watching
were
old
going to
movies
watch.
these days.
Yeah, we're watching kind of oldish movies. National Treasure. I already saw it on Disney Plus and said, "Oh, we should watch that again. That was good."
That's good film.
So we watched it again, and it is a damn fine movie. Nicolas Cage takes about 5 minutes before he becomes Nicolas Cage in it, so I think that's an all-time record. He's really good in it though. Like he's kind of quirky, and you kind of need that. The guy that plays his sidekick's really good as well. He's got the kind of the quips in it.
But he does rein it
Extras
in
in
for that one. He's not full on Nick Cage.
There's
Is
a
he?
few
I haven't seen it
few
yet.
bits in it where he's full on Nicolas Cage, like
Yeah.
Abed Nadir impersonating him in Community, full on Nicolas Cage. We also watched Tremors again,
All right, aye.
which is I think
Wow.
an unsung horror movie. I really like it. I think it's fun.
When was Tremors at? 90 what?
I think it was 90. I think
Was
it was
it 90?
1990. Yeah.
Is it as old as that?
Yeah, so 30 years ago. So Kevin Bacon and Fred Ward.
Isn't that Jaws in the desert?
Stars. Yeah,
Pretty much.
basically. Yeah, except there's 3 of them, I guess. It's a good movie. It's about these it's got a kind of
1990, yeah.
a feel for like Dune as well, because it's worms in the desert and they eat people. So there's a bit of that to it as well. There's a lot of comedy in it. The dad from Family Ties is in it. Yeah, it's good. Oh, and Egg Chen from Big Trouble in Little China. He plays the store owner. In it as
Really?
well. Yeah.
Has anybody got any love for the new Dune that's coming out?
I'm looking forward to it. Yeah. When are we
I
going
am.
to see it? Is it 2022 or 2021?
It's meant to be out in December, I think.
Yeah, it's not happening.
That is.
Any movie that's been released that's going to get released this year is going to get pushed to next year.
You think so?
Oh yeah. Yeah, because they get the
Wonder
backlog of
Woman-
all these movies.
The people who make, obviously, the Wonder Woman film that's meant to be coming out,
Yeah.
made a song and dance about it's not been released now, it's been pushed it back to August, and it's August. That's just not going to happen.
No.
And they've made a song and dance about it.
Yeah. It's a shame as well. It looks really good from the trailers.
It looks good.
This
I
is
can't wait to see
74 or something, is it?
84.
Or 84, that's it, yeah.
Kristen Wiig is the cheetah, which there's no
Really?
pictures of her. Aye. And I think that will be amazing.
Yeah, so the
She's great, but I don't know. Okay, we'll see.
I quite like her.
Oh yeah, she's great. I think she's amazing. But
I think Gal Gadot's fantastic, isn't she?
Aye,
Nobody
she is.
believes she could pull that off herself, you know.
I really didn't like
but,
Wonder Woman. I have a
the first movie.
I mean, I have a problem with the whole DC universe movies. I just find them kind of uninteresting. I
Too
think it's
hung up on Linda Blair. Not Linda Blair.
Linda Carter.
Linda Carter.
Yeah,
Linda Blair. She was nice.
she's what knows.
Linda Blair's something quite else.
No. Linda Blair just spun her head. Linda Carter did her whole body spin.
That's right.
Oh, I like that, Sloan.
There you go.
That deserves a bell.
And then I watched. What else did I watch? Black Mirror, Hated in the Nation. We watched that episode.
Was that Pig?
Sam likes it. What's that?
Is that the one with the pig?
No. Hated in the Nation is the one with the killer bees. The one with
Oh,
killer
right,
bees.
the wee drone things, wee robots. I need to watch that one again, actually.
Yeah.
Aye,
It's,
See if folk have mentioned that recently.
It's a feature film length. It's like an hour and 37 minutes or something.
Yeah.
And it's really good. It's really well paced. Everyone's excellent in it. Kelly MacDonald is just
That's
good
right,
as the
Kelly MacDonald.
the sarcastic older detective. You know, the one where it's like, nah, garbage. You know, that kind of character.
Aye, yeah.
She's good at that.
A far cry from her train spotting roots.
It's very
Certainly
true,
is.
yeah. In the discotheque, dancing to.
What was the name of
she's
that
at the-
club?
Lager,
The
lager,
Volcano.
lager.
Any of you guys ever
Volcano.
go to the Volcano?
Yeah.
I've
Bottom of
never-
Bowers Road.
I've
Mhm.
never been to the Volcano, and of course it's too late now because they tore it down.
I
Couple
know
of
it's not there
times.
anymore.
Yeah.
I remember
Forget
one
where it is.
Wednesday, I used to go every Wednesday to the Volcano, not being allowed to go because they were filming a film there. And
Is
that's
that
the
right?
one they
It
were
was
filming.
Trainspotting.
Yeah, it was
Do you know
Trainspotting, aye.
The funny thing is, I've never been to the Volcano, but I've been to a computer shop just down the road from it several times to do a LAN party. Where we used to play.
And I
We
bet-
used to go there for Duke Nukem.
I bet
I know
that's
where I'd
still
rather
there.
be.
That probably still is there, yeah.
That probably still is there, aye.
Aye. You could have been an extra, James.
I probably
Take
could
the
have.
original train spotting.
There you go.
I know.
Yeah. Missed opportunity there.
I know.
Yeah.
Like a big Hollywood star. Sorry, what else you been
And
watching?
then I finished it off with some Modern Family. So I sent to James just before we started recording.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix now. I don't know if you guys have got it on Netflix, but
Yeah, it
we
is,
have it on
aye.
Netflix.
Is it on Netflix?
Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah,
All right,
full lot,
okay.
Yep. Yeah, that's it.
Hilarious.
Yeah.
Every episode is just
I
hilarious.
know.
It's brilliant. Like everybody in it, there's no. I don't want to use the word flawless, but every character is really good. And
Yeah.
you can't imagine the show without any one of those characters.
No, I totally agree.
So
My favourite is Phil Dunphy, though.
Phil Dunphy
Aye,
is
that's-
just
Seen the
so
episode
cringy.
where they've got like a rodent underneath the house or something?
Yes.
Seen that one?
Yeah,
And
there's hidden treasure. And he sticks his head under the thing, and he hears this. He goes,
Aye.
"Okay, that's me done for the day."
Yeah,
So
it's
good.
absolute class. It's a
And he meets
great
his
show.
dad, and he's doing all the doffing of the hat and all this kind of stuff.
How
Great
good is
stuff.
the casting for the Dunphy's dad?
Yeah. I
He's-
was
You
saying
just
that
said
as
that.
well,
Sloan
yeah.
just said that.
Yeah, Fred
really?
Willard. Fred Willard is
Is that his
genius
name?
casting. Yeah,
Oh, perfect.
he plays the president in of BNL and America in Wall-E. He's the guy there.
Oh,
And
is
he's
he?
also
Yes,
he's
of
also
course he does. Aye,
yeah,
because that's
he's
the only
also
live action bit in Wally.
yes, and he's
Oh,
also
really?
the boss in Anchorman as well. That calls
Can't
him
remember
on
that.
all the time.
There you go.
And then to round all that off, I watched the last episode of Westworld. And
Oh.
now I'm more
Don't go
confused
into
than
that
ever.
if you don't go into that if that's all right.
Okay.
It looks amazing.
Uh,
Have you seen any of season 3 yet?
No.
All right, I
it's
started
really
watching it.
good.
Yeah, I'm only a couple of episodes in.
I was a bit. I don't like it when they introduce big stars like Aaron. So Aaron Paul's in this new season. Uh, he's quite. I've never seen him in anything else, but he's pretty good in this. I like his character, and I like the way
Sloan's never watched
handling
Breaking
himself.
Bad.
No, see, nobody's surprised about that now.
Well, not around these parts.
No.
Um,
And why
what
would
was I
you
going
be?
to say there? Something about what you were watching.
I'm just going to go back to not The Office. Going to go back to Modern Family that you're watching, Sloan.
Mhm.
In some, I've seen probably a couple episodes I've not seen, but most of them I have seen.
Mhm.
There's a few episodes with Stephen Merchant in it, and it's
Oh,
just
really?
Oh no, so there
it
is.
is absolute comedy gold.
Is that when they go to Vegas for the magician's thing? Yeah.
Actually, I think I've seen that as well.
Yeah.
So
And see the episode that he's in. It's comedy timing like you have never seen, and the whole episode is funny because of the comedy timing, and it's brilliant. It's a joy to watch.
Yeah.
I think it's a great.
I'm going to blast all them again. I think because I think they're all on there now, James.
I didn't know they were on Netflix.
Maybe not the newest.
Yeah, I think 10, 11, 12 was missing.
You'll get the first Stephen Merchant one, the one in Vegas. But there's an episode in season 12 where he comes back as I think it's a different character, but it seems like the same character, and it's so much the same genius. It's absolute genius. It's like Fawlty Towers.
Yeah,
genius. It's so good.
We watch quite a lot back to back of Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead because Sam likes them, and I'm like, yeah, I'll watch them. And he's in it. He's in Hot Fuzz, and it is hilarious.
Stephen Merchant, is he?
Yeah, his delivery's just amazing. He's going, can you describe the animal to me? He goes, well, it's white. It's got a long neck and a black bill. And he goes, anything else? It's a swan.
Did anybody see his Hello Ladies program?
No.
It was his sitcom that he had. That was tremendous, by the way. It was only one season.
I've not seen it.
It was really good. Really good.
I liked him in Logan. He was amazing in Logan.
Was it totally different, wasn't it?
He played Caliban, didn't he? Caliban.
It was,
I honestly, Sloan, I can't remember if that's his name.
Caliban. The weird mutant guy. Yeah. Caliban.
So he was. That was a great film.
Yeah, Caliban's a creepy guy. So this is what I mean about that. You're not going to get that from DC Universe other than the Joker, but that's really a standalone movie, so let's not bother talking about that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Well, I mean, me and James would disagree with you there.
It's fine.
I wasn't a fan of Batman vs Superman until I got the extended. I bought the extended one on Blu-ray, and I really like it now. And Man of Steel I really like anyway. We watched that recently, actually.
Hans Zimmer helps that along quite nicely, though, to be fair.
He does. Yeah, he's very good, isn't he?
Aye.
And Wonder Woman I loved. Justice League. I think they were trying too hard with Justice League.
Have you seen Aquaman?
Yeah. Aquaman turns into a bit of a computer game at but it starts off well, I think.
Aye.
And it kind of which isn't a bad thing sometimes, but sometimes you just think you're kind of watching somebody playing a computer game, but it's like the end of Transformers and stuff. It's like half an hour of carnage. Like, okay. But, yeah.
All right. Shall we talk news?
You look a bit bitter. Yes, let's talk news. Aye, I'll be a bit better about that, Jody. Poor guy. He's been in lockdown too much.
I think I have, aye. Did I say that I watched Cocoon?
No.
Wow. What?
Yeah. Yeah, we watched it. Did I say that last week? I can't
Did
remember.
you know that Wilfred Brimble was 49 years old when he did that movie? The guy that says we're going to go to a place where we never grow old and we never die.
What,
guy
the
with the
guy
big
with
the walrus
the heavier
moustache.
guy?
Yeah.
He was only 49 when he done that movie.
Yep.
What?
Yep. 49 years of age. Because I remember it was a Reddit that was on, and it was when Brad Pitt was 49. It said Wilfred Brimble was the same age as Brad Pitt is now when he did. It was his 49th birthday, and he said Wilfred Brimble was the same age in Cocoon as Brad Pitt is now. And I went, what? 49? What?
Brad Pitt's ridiculous though, isn't he?
Well, I don't
Yes,
think. I
I
don't think.
ridiculous.
mean, we all went to see. Well, not you didn't go, Sloan, because you're in Canada, but
Yeah.
we went to see Once Upon
Once upon a time in
America.
Hollywood.
In Hollywood, sorry. And when he goes up,
We were
the
all
roof,
like,
his
holy
face is
shit.
so awful. Sake. How's that even possible?
I know.
Ridiculous.
It's
But,
Brad Pitt.
yeah, I love that film.
So, what made you watch Cocoon?
I don't know. Actually, it'd been bounced about in my mind, and somebody had mentioned it. I think Evelyn mentioned it, and I was like, "Let's see if we can get it." And I managed to get it, so I thought, "Let's watch it." So we watched it
Cocoon.
on
Wow.
the big screen. It's not as good as I remember it, I must admit,
Brian
but it's still
Dennehy in
pretty
it?
good. Brian Dennehy's in it, yeah.
He's the guy that goes like
Um,
that, isn't he? He goes
yeah,
like that.
and also, oh God,
Tony Welsh.
Raquel Welch's
Tony Welsh.
daughter. Is in it. I didn't know that was Raquel Welch's daughter. It was Evelyn said.
Not
I'm
only is he
like,
good,
no,
he's
surely
Steve
not.
Guttenberg good. He was in it as well.
Steve Guttenberg's good in it, by the way.
I know he's good.
I used to always get mixed up between Steve Guttenberg and Tom Hanks back in the day. They always used
Oh
to
yeah,
get similar roles, didn't they?
yeah. Until one of them
I've never
dropped off
seen
a planet.
Cocoon, so I cannot comment.
You know, James.
When you guys
Oh,
were
no.
watching Cocoon, I was watching The Abyss on repeat.
Oh, wow.
Both aquatic.
Both
Yes.
very spiritual
Yeah.
science fiction alien movies, I would say.
Yes.
And
James
also,
Cameron.
and also beings of pure light as well.
Have you
Indeed.
ever? Yes, that's true. Have you ever seen the making of Cocoon? Sorry, the making of The Abyss.
I think I have. I think that's what got James Cameron heavily involved in like the Titanic and the Mariana Trench and all that stuff.
Heavily criticised as well, working with that,
what?
the way he treated actors and stuff, nearly drowning them and things like that, and kind of, oh well, you know, for the good of the picture and all that.
They built the tank that they used in the Abyss was actually an unused nuclear reactor. You know the nuclear reactor, the
Not
big
from
tanks they
Chernobyl,
have.
hopefully.
No. It was so basically what happened was, I think it was in Kentucky, but they built this nuclear reactor and it never saw the light of day, but it's fully functional. The only thing that was missing from it was the nuclear rods that go into it, and so everything else was working. So they were like, what we can do with this thing? And somebody had a bright idea. They could sell it to Hollywood as like a filming location if they needed any underwater stuff. And just at that time, James Cameron was wanting to film The Abyss, and he wanted a controlled environment so he could like drown actors. And so he got in contact with this nuclear power company that wasn't making any nuclear power, and they said, "Yeah, come on in." And that's what they did. They filmed all the underwater sequences that require close contact with the actors inside this disused nuclear reactor.
There you go.
Kind of
There you go.
cool story.
I suppose it's the most watertight thing you could ever
Yeah.
have.
Well, it's supposed to be
So
full
it'd
of water anyway, because that's
Yeah.
the part of the deal with nuclear
Don't want
reactors.
any
I never
leaks.
knew that.
There you go.
And Sloan, I do recall about maybe a year and a half ago, we were doing a podcast on Chernobyl, and me and Jodie had watched every episode, and you'd missed the last episode. We were
Well,
talking about stuff.
Yeah, and then what was it we said? Yeah, no,
Lawson is this expert on nuclear power.
what was it we said on the 8th episode? That was the best one, or whatever episode it was. And you're like, no, there's only 7, wasn't there?
I know.
I think there's 5, wasn't there? No,
It was an
five
odd number.
episodes.
It was an odd.
You were
It was.
talking about six.
There was an odd number, and you
Yeah.
only seen
Aye.
4, and there were 5
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
quite funny.
I did eventually
And-
see the last episode, and it is the best.
And myself and Jodie were talking about the court scene's amazing, and this happened and that happened, and you were like, "What? What are you talking about?"
Oh god.
You must have
Yeah.
the shittest ending to that ever.
I said it was like just end
I
it.
know.
There's another episode. It just finishes like
Yeah.
no explanation of it.
I think it ends with naked Scottish miners and guys humping bits of like running out and tripping over debris. I think that was the end of my Chernobyl, and I'm like,
Is that the
okay.
Sloan cut?
Yeah.
Sloan cut, yeah.
Well, none of this
Let's finish it
exposition
here.
at the end. It'll
Super
be
cut.
garbage. Yeah.
That's
I
it.
just remember a pair of scissors. That's it.
Oh dear.
That'll do. Tack. Then I told
That's
the guys,
it.
the credit guy, to tack the credits to the end of it, and right, that's it. Ship it.
Brilliant.
That's enough.
Fantastic.
But we've paid for 5 episodes. Me as a booker for HBO. So anyway, news. Sad news. We lost 2 fairly old celebrities. Little Richard, 97. Is that how old he was? I can't read that.
I think he was 87.
87.
I think he was 87. Aye.
I can't read more handwriting. It's sad, obviously. 'Cause,
Well,
you know,
he
we've lost
invented
someone.
rock and roll when he was a black guy and he was gay.
And he was gay.
Ticks all the boxes.
Yeah.
Of
And his
Had he
music-
been alive today, yeah, we would
And
things,
his music
things that you
was-
can't.
His music was featured in Predator, which is the most important thing here.
That's true.
Brilliant.
Yes. That's there you go. There's
So,
a sci-fi.
I like the fact you've brought it back down to our level.
That's
I
right,
have to
yeah.
get it back in there. Obviously, he was a black rock and rollist, and but his music was in Predator, which was. Remember watching that film for the first time and hearing that music when they were in that helicopter?
Yeah.
It was amazing. It was amazing.
That's what we need to do, James. Remember, we've been talking about this for quite a while. the
I
three
think
of
we
us,
have, yes.
to
Uh-huh,
do
yeah. Doing a
commentary.
Predator. I'm going to find it hard to do that without swearing, though, to be fair.
That's fine.
Who is the only actor to be killed by a xenomorph, a predator,
Bill Paxton and a Terminator.
A Terminator, yeah.
Aye. Bill Paxton.
go.
I was looking at T-shirts the other night, and on the website for the T-shirts, it had that fact.
Really?
I'm glad you brought that up. Aye, yeah.
There you go.
Aye. So I bought a T-shirt from them because it was such a great
Did you?
fact. I didn't actually. I just thought I'd say that. Cut that bit out, Sloan.
Uh, oh no, I mean, yeah, sure, I'll cut that out.
You should-
yeah.
Yeah.
You should make that. You need to make that shirt happen.
Oh, I like
Make
that.
that shirt happen. That's a good shirt.
It is. Aye, yeah.
Make it so.
Or shirt happens. I'm sure somebody's done that though.
Aye, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we also lost Jerry Stiller as well,
Yes.
who did not play his son's father in Zoolander. CBS News. Who played his dad in Zoolander? Who played Ben Stiller's dad in Zoolander?
I don't know.
You're there.
John Voight.
Oh, was it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I do like John.
He
I've
did
not
play
seen
his
Zoolander.
dad. So Jerry Stiller did play his son's father in a movie, but it was The Heartbreak Kid.
Oh, that was a great film, by the way. You seen that?
Yes, that's a
No,
great. That
not
is a
seen
great
it.
movie.
That's a cracking film.
I mean, this is a news organisation. They got it wrong. This is a stupid wee podcast with 3 Scottish blokes in it, and we get it right. Get
Well,
them.
Well, when
Drop the
unfortunately, when Kobe Bryant died,
Uh-huh.
the BBC were showing footage of LeBron James, which
Oh.
was a disgrace.
Oh my god.
Oh.
And it even had James in the back of his vest. It was
Oh my
terrible.
God. That's embarrassing.
Aye, they did. Yeah, it's on YouTube. It's so
That's
bad.
shockingly embarrassing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Sadly, I think that's typical of your today's news is they don't actually check facts, unlike us.
You've
Of
got
course.
a bit quiet, Sloan, for some
Oh,
reason.
have I? No, did I
Yeah.
push something? Maybe I pushed
Must have
something.
done.
A sec. Is this better?
Well, that's
Mic
better.
check.
Must have
Yeah,
flicked a switch.
I did. I flicked a switch. There's a little switch over here, and I pushed it down. Other news in the obituary column, I'm afraid,
Good. Bit
is
grim.
Roy Horn of Siegfried and Roy fame.
Mm-hmm.
He died recently as well, coronavirus.
Not from a tiger attack.
Not from a tiger attack, no.
He
No.
almost died. Was it
He
him that
almost
almost died from that?
Tiger.
Died from that.
He was the original Tiger King.
Yeah.
I probably would put him down to that.
I think they did.
By the way,
Was he the one that was mauled by the tiger like 10 years ago?
There you go.
Was the tiger
Props.
there? James is the new Tiger King.
Yeah.
Did anybody see? Did we mention that? My memory's terrible. Did we mention the fact last week that they're talking about doing a dramatisation of the Tiger King, and it's going to be
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
Nicolas Cage.
It's going to be Exotic Joe.
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic.
Exotic Joe. Exotic Joe, I think, was in Magic Mike, Jody.
Yeah, I think that's someone quite different, Jody. What are you watching?
I remember that. See that Magic Mike movie? That was getting great reviews and stuff like that, and me and Evelyn watched it. What a pile of shit! I thought it was absolutely awful.
But yeah, Evelyn loved it though.
Probably.
That deserved a ding.
Yeah, a dong.
Dong.
Ding dong.
Well,
Ding dong.
All right, let's move on to some
Happy news.
happier news. So there's a couple of Star Wars stories. The first one is that apparently there's going to be a new Star Wars live action show in the works. And this is from she worked on Russian Doll.
Oh yeah.
Leslie Headland.
mm-hmm.
Leslie Headland.
She's doing the whole thing.
Show, apparently.
She's doing the whole thing. Aye.
Yeah.
But no other news about what it's about, or
no other news other
period
than
it's set in.
she's
or
now
nothing.
got a bungalow somewhere on the Disney lot, and she'll be writing a show for.
The only thing I heard about it
Disney
was
Plus.
it was full on female centric.
Oh really?
Okay.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. The
Like
big
Glow,
deal
then?
being. Yeah, probably. Yeah, and it'll probably be amazing.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll bring
Yeah,
back Kerry Russell's character.
Wouldn't mind that. I like Zori Bliss.
Aye.
How can you tell? She was in screen for like 2 seconds.
She looked cool.
Calm down, Sloan. Calm down.
She was good. The thing is though, right?
Uh-huh.
And they're reporting these things about Star Wars things getting developed and things like that. But they're constantly developing things all the time.
Yeah.
They won't necessarily always
Make something
end up
out
on
of
the
it, yeah.
on the screen.
It's true.
But you can imagine. You know how long it's taken for Mandalorian. It started off as. I'm sure this started off as.
I think
Star
this started
Wars
off as
Underworld. Remember that?
which became Level 1313, the video game,
Yeah.
because it was supposed to be a Mandalorian bounty hunter.
Yeah. And then there was rumours it was going to be a Boba Fett movie, and then it ended up being eventually they landed on the Mandalorian. Did you ever see the footage, James, of the Star Wars Underworld series that they actually filmed it?
No,
It's on
not
YouTube.
at all. I didn't know that thing didn't know it existed.
We need to post that up, Sloan, on the Facebook page.
Okay.
The thing I'm talking about.
The game itself.
No, it was an actual sort of test footage, about 25 minutes of test footage of a
Wow.
I've not
Star Wars Underworld
if you
TV
have the link-
program that they're going to make.
If you have a link, post it up there, and then we can send people to the Facebook
All right,
page
okay,
from
I'll
here.
find it out and I'll post it up.
Yeah, I've never seen it either.
Quite tacky looking, very busy, very computerized. It doesn't look as clean as Mandalorian does. It looks like kind of Coruscant.
Aye.
Croissant.
Because I heard
Close.
about it and I thought that's what that's going to be like.
Aye. Very dense, populated, kind of stuff. A lot going on. I'll post it up.
Okay.
Post it up the thing.
Sound good. And then finally, Tamura Morrison is going to, well, is he going to reprise his role as Boba Fett, or is he coming back as someone else? Like, because
Well, if
this
he's
is
coming back
rumors.
into Star Wars at that time period, you'd assume he's going to be Boba Fett. And he'd be the right age as well, wouldn't he? Oh, no,
Didn't
you don't know what
assume
age he
so.
was.
Didn't Boba
in
Fett
Boba
end
Fett.
up in James's fire pit?
Sarlacc pit.
Yeah. Small point, Your Honour.
Out back.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Well, if you, I don't know, is it in the comics or where is it? Is it
I think
officially
he gets out,
canon
yeah.
that he escapes the Sarlacc
He
pit?
gets out. I don't think it's official, but we all know he gets out.
Yeah. So, and also, was it the Gunslinger episode where there was a figure stood by the dead body of the bounty hunter? Remember the girl bounty hunter? The Mandalorian episode, the Gunslinger.
The
Yes.
assassin?
In the desert, in the Mos Eisley.
Oh, the one, the footsteps that walked up.
Right at the end of the episode,
Yeah.
and you're like, "All right, who's that?" And then it's not explained.
I thought that was
It's going to
Gideon.
be season 2.
I thought it was Moff Gideon.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
I thought it was, because that would have made sense. But I mean,
Yeah.
if it's
Maybe.
I thought it was
Maybe I'm
like
reading too
a
much
kind
into it.
of,
if it's Tamura Morrison, then all the better. But
yeah. I don't know. I've kind of mixed feelings about this. Like I mean, I kind of got into liking the whole Mandalorian thing because of Boba Fett, but I don't know. I think the whole Din Djarin Mandalorian guy he's my new favorite guy now. So Boba Fett, I'm not saying Boba Fett's like old news,
I just
but
don't know how
it's
they're
still,
going to. I don't know how they're going to crowbar Boba Fett into.
I don't. Well, that's the other thing
and
as
not
well.
make it all about Boba Fett.
Yeah, I don't
You know?
want I don't want that to take over from that either. It's a bit like, oh look guys, it's Luke Skywalker. It's like, oh, for the love of, like, do we have to have all of these things? Like, do we have to have these things? I know why people are doing it. I know why they're suggesting it is because it gets people watching the show, but I think people are already watching The Mandalorian. I don't think they need a gimmick to get people to watch
Probably
it.
not. What do you think, James?
But see, if they did have that gimmick, I would love it.
So would that?
I totally would love it. Imagine Boba Fett turned up.
I
Oh,
know. I would love it as well. But I know what Sloane's saying as well.
I get it. But
But-
see, if that's what I'm getting and I don't have any choice, I'll take that medicine.
Do you know what? I think that Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau understand it so much that I completely
Aye.
trust them with it as well.
Aye.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, I mean, Dave
Um,
Filoni's just a walking,
Encyclopedia.
Doreen Kindersley book
Yeah,
of Star Wars knowledge.
Definitely. He's pretty amazing, actually.
he's brilliant. Have you been watching the making of
Aye.
episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah.
His when he talks about like how he can link the Duel of Fates, Obi-Wan versus
Aye.
Yeah,
Maul, right all the way to Return of the Jedi,
yeah.
where Vader saves Luke. It's
Yeah.
just,
That is-
and he links it hardcore. I'm just
Yeah.
like, oh
Is
my
that
God.
his monologue at the end of the second episode?
It is. Yeah,
Aye.
he's gonna
He
hope I'm
just
not
does
boring
by the way.
anyone.
Shut up.
Everybody
Aye,
was
just-
like, drop the mic type stuff.
Aye, totally. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
Aye.
brilliant.
I like that.
Utterly brilliant the way brilliant.
I get the feeling that he's the one that's carrying on the creative reins for Star Wars. Like George Lucas
100%.
is like in the back of his head going like, it would be a really cool idea, and I
But
think he's
George
listening
Lucas
in.
mentored them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I think he's the
Aye.
one that's carrying the torch.
100%.
I don't think Kathleen
Totally.
Kennedy's just she's a producer.
Not got a clue.
She's a bean
She's a
counter.
producer. She's
So-
not deep into it the way he
Aye.
is.
No, she's not a creative.
It is
person.
Filoni, 100%.
Oh yeah,
100%. And they
'cause
should be the
there was
two. They should be the two. Sorry.
there was a great bit in there was a clip and it was Filoni and Favreau and they're both looking at the stormtrooper helmets and Filoni said, "Oh, this is like this bit in Empire Strikes Back. Do you remember
Yes.
it?" And John
Yeah.
goes,
He's like,
"No,
I don't know.
Yeah, like
I was like,
you've got
that puts
you've got
them
a
where
deep
they-
dive there.
yeah,
Not
Yeah.
really deep diving though.
pull back."
I know.
but it's like, do you not think that the two of them should be the main, no pun intended, force to push Star Wars stuff forward? You know.
Aye.
And
I remember he was Pre Vizsla in the Clone Wars.
Yep. That's
the one
right.
who got Favreau on to be Pre Vizsla.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Aye, yeah. I didn't, I forgot that. I was reminded of it this week.
Yeah. That's a good show as well.
Aye, Clone Wars. In fact,
Clone
I should have
Wars.
said that. I've been watching the Clone Wars, maybe the last from season 5. That's part of my lockdown shows.
I've been watching Rebels.
I need to go back and
then
watch.
I'm going to get back to watch Clone Wars.
Clone Wars is excellent.
Yeah.
I've jumped back on an episode where one of the troopers was having an issue. The Order 66 training, which was obviously in there somewhere, had somehow come to the forefront. Someone had brought it. Either
I watched that one
it
as
was
well.
malfunctioning.
Yeah.
Well, it was a great episode, actually.
That's the one with Ashoka's in it as well. She's the one that's in charge of them, I think. Is that the same one?
Oh, I don't think that's the same one. No, there are a couple of Jedi. They're not. A couple of Jedi, but one of these clone troopers comes up and shoots one of the Jedi in the back of the head. Obviously done tastefully because it's a kid show. But then it was taken away. It was the first episode of season 5, and it was the malfunctioning of the Order 66. Like something isn't working quite right. And a very, very interesting episode, shall we say?
Yeah. I've not watched the new Clone Wars because I need to go back and kind of remember all that stuff. But I cheated a wee bit and I watched the new Rockstars on YouTube. Just kind of they picked up on a lot of things on it on this new one, and I was getting chills just how they're kind of linking things in and using the music from the original John Williams stuff, but in a different way, and all that stuff. And
it took them a while to get, for whatever reason, access to John Williams music. Like it wasn't like the first couple of maybe 3 or 4 seasons they could hardly use any of his music. That's why it's so distinctly different. And then the odd time they could use a theme from Vader, and then maybe the Rebel fanfare occasionally. And then for the last 2 or 3 seasons, it was just like, okay, now we can use the music. And I don't know why that is.
20th Century Fox thing, then maybe. Now that Disney own the full rights, maybe. I don't know. Oh no, but then that would make a difference because it was a Lucasfilm. It wouldn't make any difference at all.
I don't know, but it was a thing back then, and it's not a thing now. So
yeah, but that makes a massive difference as well. Not that the new composers and stuff are really good as well. So I mean, we were talking about Mandalorian music.
Isn't that the same guy who done the Joker?
Yeah, no, it was a female.
That's
a female that did the Joker.
Oh,
that's Hedwig.
Sorry.
Hedwig.
Yeah.
I think it's a similar last name though. Like she's like some daughter.
I don't know my Norse.
Icelandic.
Icelandic.
I think he is that. So,
the guy that does the music for The Mandalorian also did the music for Community.
I thought you were going to say he did the same music for Rocky or Creed.
Well, me and Sloan have talked about that before because it does go a little bit Rocky, doesn't it? At one point.
The fanfare is just like a full-on Rocky / Creed fanfare. It's fanfare for The Mandalorian. It's brilliant.
Yeah. But the music is good. He's got that kind of gunslinger,
spaghetti western type thing. Yeah.
Style going.
Yeah.
Really good. Brilliant. There's so much good stuff going on in Star Wars. And that's why we decided to rate all the live action stuff that's on Disney, and which include the episodes 1 to 9, Rogue One, Solo,
Mandalorian
TV series. We haven't included animated stuff because there's so much to go on in that. And you'd mentioned, James, Ewok Adventures and Caravan of Courage.
Which I don't think is on yet. They're not on there, are they?
I would love to see that right now.
They're not even canon, are they?
I don't know if they
No.
are. I don't know if they are. The holiday
They're
special
up there with the holiday
wasn't
special, aren't they?
the holiday special wasn't canon according to George Lucas.
No, it was just a daft
So
thing, but
yeah,
it's become legendary, the holiday special, though.
B.
But,
Arthur was in it.
Wasn't
she
wasn't
was-
Chris
Is she
wasn't
not
Chris
in the
Christopherson
Chewbacca
in
bit?
it?
I think he might have been. Yeah, I think they had a sing along with Chris Christopherson or someone at the time. Yeah, just a
Yeah. Well,
life day or whatever it's
the thing
called.
is, as well, we felt guilty, didn't we? Because we didn't kind of acknowledge May the 4th. I think our
Which was the next
podcast
day.
went out the day before.
May the 3rd.
Aye. So we didn't acknowledge the fact it was going to be May the 4th and stuff, so we felt guilty, so we thought as well we better do
Fair
something
enough.
Star Warsy this week.
I did not
Not that we
forget it
don't.
was May the 4th.
You certainly did not. James
No,
turned
I
up at my house, right? Knocked on the door, and I was like, "Who's this?" Knocked on the door. James was there and left 2 Star Wars comics and some sweets for Danny for May the 4th.
Oh, were they Star
was
Wars
a-
sweets?
Beautiful moment.
Yes, they kind of were, even though they were opal fruits. I only left strawberry and lime, which kind of represented
Brilliant.
TIE Fighter gunfire and Rebel
Uh-huh.
gunfire.
Okay.
Brilliant.
So
Yeah.
yes, they were actually.
Nice.
I never even thought of that.
I took
Danny
out the grape
lightsaber,
and I
green
took out the
lightsaber.
orange. Yes, yeah,
Brilliant.
definitely. They were
could've-
only red.
You could have left one grape in there to represent Mace Windu, though.
I could have done, and I did do
Great.
it in one other pack that I delivered to someone else. I left in one of them.
Do you know what?
Ah,
I think Mace
there you
Windu
go.
is the biggest waste of a character in Star Wars.
He should.
Would you like
come
a
on.
list?
He's a Jar Jar Binks for me.
It's a
the total-
Jar Jar Binks.
What?
Yeah. Definitely.
No.
Yeah. I think he's a total.
Either you hate or love
Nothing.
Mace Windu.
He's a
He's-
nothing character.
He's one of the most powerful Jedi.
I think he's just George's pal. Said,
He
"Can I get in
arrested
Star
the
Wars?"
The Emperor. He arrested the Emperor.
Yeah.
I know, but it
He
could have been
also
Andy.
put up a damn good fight, and it wasn't until
He
what's his
doesn't he?
face
He's
blindsided
terrible.
him.
He's when
Aye.
you see him fighting, he's horrible with a lightsaber. Anyway,
Right. See if
Yeah.
Let's go
see
for
when
it.
this lockdown's lifted, Jody, and I meet
Yeah.
you in the golf course.
yeah.
We're going to discuss Mace Windu.
Discuss.
James, I meet you on the golf course every day.
I know.
Yes, but closer than
And
two
we
holes
don't
apart.
arrange it either. It just so happens we bump into each other.
I know.
Do you want to talk about your memorabilia behind you? Because you got
Subtly
Oh,
placed.
Oh, do you
Just
mean
subtly
this stuff here?
yeah.
Just give me
What?
a second.
That just
then.
happens to
Strangely-
be sitting behind you.
Yeah.
Can you see this stuff?
Yeah,
It's unbelievable.
I know. Is that a stormtrooper and a dewback?
Yeah, I'm gonna actually bring the camera a bit closer.
So
So
now you're talking.
Oh, there you go. Wait a minute. Is that Captain Kirk there? Because he's not
This is-
Star Trek Wars.
this is universes collided.
Ah, okay.
He's also got a couple of tigers there.
Brilliant.
So I've been watching the
Now,
Tiger
there's that
King quite
movie.
long. We've got Steve McQueen's fastback Mustang, and we've got the Hulk there from Ragnarok. So
Nice.
yeah, but I
And
didn't
you've got your
realize
lampshade that looks like R2D or
Oh,
R5D4.
BB-8.
or 5D.
Oh, 54.
Come on, Sloan, it's R5D4. It's
I know,
clearly not
sorry.
BB-8.
Sorry. Or BB-9E, my favourite BB unit.
So listen, I didn't realize you guys could see that stuff. So, also just happened to have here my Bandai C3PO,
Yes, you've been talking
model
about this for a while.
which I'm going to build, but I'm waiting on this. I'm going to take the top off, and I'm quite excited because it's super
Ooh.
shiny and gold.
It is shiny
It's
and
so gold. So I'm waiting on a toolkit to come for it, and then I'll be following these instructions, and
Looks
I'll
a
be
bit
having
fiddly,
plenty
James.
I know, but let's face it, I've got a lot of time in my hands.
That's true.
So, are you going to record it and put it on YouTube?
I'd love to, but I just don't have the patience for it.
Oh, okay. Fair
Just
enough.
don't have the
You
patience.
could do a
There
time
are-
lapse video.
I could do
Yeah.
a time lapse video, but there are plenty of Bandai 3PO time lapse videos on YouTube. They don't need another one from me.
I don't want to quote the movie Full Metal Jacket to you, but there are many rifles like this. but this is mine.
Oh, okay, that's fair enough. Maybe I could get drunk.
Very poignant today, Sloan.
What's that?
Very poignant.
It's the water.
Is that what it is?
It's lovely water. Where'd you get your water from? Okay, so we each came up with the 12 live action movies and TV show.
Well, most of us did.
I revised mine, so I came up with 12.
Why?
What?
They just kept it.
Well, because I refused to watch the other two, but it turns out that the lowest one is the same for all of us, and I thought we should start off discussing that. The lowest movie that we have decided is Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
What is it that you guys hate about Attack of the Clones? Where to start?
Jody, do you want to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Yeah. For me, the tone of it. There's good bits about it. There's good bits about every Star Wars movie. I don't hate the Star Wars movies.
Hate leads to
for me,
fear leads to hate. Hate leads to anger. Anger leads to dark.
That's the one. For me, the tone in this is horrible. Anakin comes across as whiny. He comes across as creepy.
This is his wooing
it's
episode,
not
isn't it?
convincing, the romance between the two of them. Can I say the word wank?
Well, you said it now.
There's a scene in it for me that says it all. It's when he's lying in bed at night and
he's what?
No clothes on. He's lying in bed at night. He's got no clothes on. His covers are up to there, and he's sweating. And it looks as if he's having a wank, and then he shouts out, "Mum!" That to me says it all.
My favorite speech ever is the part in where he's trying to woo her, and they're making small talk, and it's absolutely painful. It's like being stabbed through the heart with a lightsaber. But she says she likes the beach, and he goes, "It's beaches got sand, and I hate sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere." No, but she's saying she likes the beach, and he says he doesn't like it because it's coarse and it gets everywhere. It's like, it's not a Sunday school picnic you're going to, son.
Plus, she's wearing like almost bondage gear in it. Like she's that bit when they're talking about that. She's wearing this really tight leather kind of thing, sort of strappy and all that.
Hang on a minute. What do you wear to go to a picnic?
My lightsaber would have went like that.
Oh my god!
I'm glad I don't have to edit this, Sloan.
Probably can't use any of this actually.
Stop talking.
I was told this is a family show.
It is. Tell him.
Yeah, the special effects are bad in it. The droid factory thing is horrible.
It's the worst.
Geonosis and all that.
3PO head swap.
Yeah, that was.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
Shocking.
How does that even? So I was talking to my wife about that, and I was saying, I don't even understand it. I mean, the brains of the unit would be in the head. So why can't C-3PO stop blasting everybody? It makes no sense.
So Sloan, were you just casually over breakfast chatting to your wife about the 3PO head swap from Attack of the Clones?
We were actually. Do you know what the thing was? We were discussing this list, and apparently, no bias. And I know they live with me, but they were saying my list was better than you guys' list.
No way.
So,
not true.
No, it's true.
Not true.
It's true.
Remember,
they did
right
say that.
Hang on,
are you saying they didn't say that, or are you arguing that my list isn't better?
No, I'm sure they did say that.
I know. I'm actually no. I'm saying they didn't.
They did. They did.
Let's
honestly.
be clear. James is saying he didn't.
Okay. So James called me a liar. That's fine. That's okay.
What about you then, James? Sorry, Sloan. Carry on.
I was just going to say that my least favourite bit. Sorry. Oh, there you go. James, you
go on, Sloan. No, you finish up.
What I was going to say was my least favourite bit in it, or the bit that's for me is the most laughable part of Attack of the Clones, is the bit with General Grievous. And he says, "I've learned your Jedi ways," and he comes at him with what can only be described as helicopters.
Yeah.
It's basically a transformer at that point.
That's not Attack of the Clones.
That is Attack of the Clones. That's the one where Obi-Wan goes down and goes in to see General Grievous.
Is that when he says hello there?
Yeah, he drops
Because
down and goes hello there.
that's Revenge of the Sith.
Is that Revenge of the Sith?
Yeah, this is this is Chernobyl Part 2.
That's when Sloan goes, what do you mean there's a third part?
Sloan!
That's on episode 3.
So wait a minute. So what? I thought that bit was the bit, and then he goes to Geonosis and he's
No, Attack of the Clones is when he goes to the cloning facility and he fights Jango Fett, which is my favourite bit in that movie.
What is the name of that cloning facility?
Clones Are Us.
Yeah, let's just call that because I can't remember it. I'm too drunk now.
That was
can't
too deep.
No.
Clones Are Us.
Anyway,
No,
right, James, go for it. What's your...
Sorry,
So,
James.
Attack of the Clones, I don't dislike it because I love all Star Wars, but I dislike it the most out of them all. A couple of points that I do like are the Obi-Wan versus Jango Fett. I like the revelation that Boba Fett was so upset that Mace Windu chopped his dad's head off, etc. I like that stuff. I like seeing the Slave One stuff.
Was the head still on the helmet?
I don't think so. I think he picked the helmet up.
It should have either spun out or it should have dropped when
but he
Boba lifted it up.
As far as I recall, he did pick the helmet up.
He does. He picks it up like a ton of spam.
It
just comes out.
Dog food.
Yeah. And he makes that noise as well.
I've done a video of it.
What?
And I recall this. I don't know what planet they were on where Obi-Wan felt the need to go to some bar with some roller skating droids.
No, that's Coruscant.
Was that Coruscant?
That's Coruscant.
And the bartender had
they go to the diner, the 50s diner.
Yeah, I quite like that. Like, I know it's utter garbage, but if I was to pick one of the films that I didn't like the most or like the least, then it's got to be Attack of the Clones.
Yeah.
But I still kind of liked it.
Of course. But I'm the same. It's the worst. It's just my least favourite.
Yeah.
Because I love all the Obi-Wan stuff. He's my favourite character in the prequels.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's his show, really. I mean, I know it's supposed to be Anakin's show, but I mean,
yeah,
you got to go with the personality.
So whiny.
Yeah. Okay, so who wants to go? Who wants to go first? Who wants to go through their list?
We're going to each go through the list.
Well, it's either that we're going to pick random movies for 12. Oh,
I'll go through my list. So, least favorite Attack of the Clones, Revenge of the Sith. I really, really like, but and I think when it first came out, it was a lot higher up. Obviously, it would have been, and I think new content has a tendency to do that. Will jump the gun, and I think over a period of time, you'll decide what's better and what's worse. But Revenge of the Sith, I actually really, really liked. Phantom Menace used to be much lower down, was always my least favourite. But I like my sci-fi and my science fiction fantasy a little bit boring, and I think all the trade wars,
Phantom Menace.
I think all the trade stuff, the trade agreements and the embargo that was putting on and all the meetings and stuff, I quite like. So that's jumped up. Now it's my third least favourite. So that says something. Solo, and I like this. I like the standalone stuff. Solo's my next one, and I liked everything that was about it. I would love. Who is it? Is it who done the original Solo? Someone in Lord.
Lord
movies.
and Miller.
Lord and Miller. I'd love to have seen that version of it, and I think that's what propels it to my fourth least favourite. But I did like it, and I would quite happily watch it again. I love the Chewbacca Han Solo stuff, especially when they first met, and I loved watching their relationship grow. So I like that. I like The Last Jedi. I think actually, as I'm going through this list, I probably would swap Last Jedi for Solo. Actually, I'd probably bump Solo up one because you guys know how it is. Your list changes all the time. So I'd probably swap those two. But let's go through The Last Jedi. I liked it for a lot of stuff. It's certainly not my favourite, and who's the most angriest about The Last Jedi out of you two?
Jodie.
Probably Jodie. Johnny's really angry about it.
I
I'm
really
not
hates
that
the
angry
movie.
about it. Mhm. I liked it for a lot of stuff. I liked it for oh gosh, maybe I don't like it that much actually. Listen, let's get past this, Jim.
Okay.
I'll revise my list later on.
I love it.
Force Awakens was the first bit of Star Wars you guys had probably seen. We'd all seen it in a long, long time, and it was a proper cultural phenomenon. So you
Yeah.
cannot. And it was basically a remake of A New Hope.
Yeah.
And it ticked all the boxes, and it was just amazing. And we got up at 5 o'clock in the morning, travelled to Glasgow, and watched it at 6 o'clock in the morning at an IMAX. And it was just that also helped towards the experience. When my kids start liking it, I like it more, and it determines where I like it on the scale. So I just thought it was great. I'm not going to go too much in depth to it, other than I just loved it. Mandalorian is next. I just think The Mandalorian's amazing. Sloan, you probably strike me as The Mandalorian's biggest fan. And I seen on your list that we've seen previously that you liked it a little bit more than I did, probably a lot more than I did. But I absolutely love it. And I've watched it fully myself. I'm watching it with my kids separately. I've got two girls. Where I'm at one episode with one episode with the other. For some reason, we can't all watch it together, but it's just the way it is. But I love it. Rise of Skywalker. I loved it because I felt it was the Return of the Jedi of the new trilogy. I felt it ticked all those boxes, and I was emotional whilst watching it, and that helped my love for it and where it ranks. Then Empire Strikes Back is number 4 on my list, which used to be number 1 for the longest time. Empire, I don't need to speak about it. It just Empire Strikes Back is what Empire Strikes Back is. I think what's more intriguing is why other films have overtaken it, which is Rogue One, which is at number 3, which I think Rogue One is depressing / how I like my sci-fi these days, which is a little bit boring, but it's not boring at all, but it kind of is, and depressing, and I just love that about it. It's grounded. Return of the Jedi, which is full of hope. It's Ewoks killing stormtroopers. It's got Jabba the Hutt, the Sarlacc pit, and whenever any of my friends or family ask me what Star Wars film should my kids watch first, I'll always say just watch Return of the Jedi, because you're trying to get them into something that they might not want to be into. But if you watch Return of the Jedi, it's just a spectacle and it's just enjoyable. And then A New Hope, which it's absolute number 1 because it's brilliant. It's beautiful to look at. It's a little bit boring at places, which suits me down to the ground. And it's just amazing. And I probably cry more at A New Hope than I do at any of the films. So that's my rundown.
Jodie cries the most at The Last Jedi.
I just cry at everything. I cried at Force Awakens.
Did you?
Yeah, why? And I cried at a little bit at...
Go through your list then, Jodie.
My list then. Right, well, number 12 I've got...
I think you guys, your lists are probably the least controversial, it seems.
Yes. Do I do yours ones last then?
Yeah, let's do mine last.
Okay. Nobody's wrong here, by the way.
I feel one of us is slightly wronger than the other two. It's okay.
We won't judge you, don't worry.
It's fine.
We're all friends here.
That's right.
Anyway, so mine's number 12, Attack of the Clones, which we just spoke about. Number 11, Last Jedi. Everybody knows my feelings about it. I thought it was disrespectful to what had gone before. It didn't understand the material. Rian Johnson didn't understand the material. He threw away all the stuff that JJ set up in Force Awakens, and whether he thought that was him doing some sort of twist or what, it just didn't work and left him. The plot was backed into a corner for the next movie, and it just really didn't work for me. And the way Luke Skywalker was treated, and it didn't give you a good reason for why he would not go and help his sister in this fight. It just didn't give a good reason.
I think
The
Last Jedi feels like a really bad whose line is it anyway? You know, where Ryan Stiles is winning and you want to screw him over, so you come up with this crazy situation and there's no way he can get out of it, and somehow he manages to do it. Not that I'm saying that J.J. Abrams is Ryan Stiles and can get out of anything, because I've
I
seen
just
Rise of
wish
Skywalker.
I wish that Luke had made it into Rise of Skywalker as well, because I think that would have been, why did he project himself? Why didn't he just do the thing? See the things that Rise of Skywalker did in
I think
that movie, where he raised the X-wing and stuff like that. I think they would have had that in the second movie, and Luke would have went with Rey. I don't know.
Do you know what's going to happen in the future is people are going to mix up The Last Jedi and COVID-19 and say the reason why Luke didn't do that is because he was under self-isolation and he couldn't go there, so he basically Jedi zoomed in and then did the fight that way.
Yeah, kind of.
I
Maybe.
forgot about COVID-19 till you said that, Sloan.
Sorry.
So Dav, having so much fun.
That's all right. I know. It's fine though.
More fun than a pandemic. There you go.
Anyway.
There's the subtitle for this podcast.
More fun than a pandemic. That is the title for this episode. Number 10's Phantom Menace. I watched the re-edit of Phantom Menace without all the kind of Jar Jar stuff, and it's actually pretty good. It's not as bad as I remembered it, but watching the original edit with Jar Jar and with all the other stuff in it.
Jodie, can I ask you a question about the
is-
Phantom Menace?
Yeah.
There was a while ago they re-released the Phantom Menace on 3D, so you could go to the cinema to watch the Phantom Menace in 3D. So
Yeah, that's right. They were going to do it with all the prequels.
aye, they were going to do it with them all, but they just done it with Phantom Menace, and it ended up being like a total disaster. But Sloan, we know a guy in Troon called Mark Trainer, and I went to see the Phantom Menace 3D with Mark Trainer and his
Did you?
kids. Aye, and Mark hates Star Wars, hates anything science fiction, but went to see it for his boys. But he hated it because the 3D was rubbish.
Oh yeah.
And the film, I mean, if you're not into Star Wars, it's rubbish.
It's bad.
And I just watched him watching that, and that was so enjoyable.
I bet you.
It was.
That must have been some rant.
It was. It was a big rant. He ranted for a while.
There's so much wrong with Phantom Menace, the original cut, that's not funny. But it does have Darth Maul in it, who is probably one of the best baddies
Aye, he is.
in any Star Wars movie.
I mean, you talk about underused characters. Darth Maul,
Aye.
for me, is
Oh, God, aye. I thought
you
he
know-
was going to be the big bad all the way through the whole thing.
No.
And then they
Well,
kill
so
him
did
off.
I. Yeah.
Spoilers. Okay, number 9, Revenge of the Sith. They kind of were trying to pull it back at this moment, but for me it was a bit too late. They tried to cram in so much, and basically Anakin turns to the dark side in the last 30 minutes or something.
That's because he started
It should have
panicking.
been. It should have been. For me, it should have been a progression from the very first movie to that one. Not in the last 35 minutes. Boy's a bad guy, and he's killing kids and stuff.
Younglings.
Younglings, aye.
What shall we do now, Master Skywalker? That is my favourite bit in any Star Wars movie. I know it's not. I know it's
It's
a
nasty,
controversial
though,
movie, but I love that
isn't-
bit. What are we going to do
No.
now, Master Skywalker?
Master
That's-
Skywalker. Yeah.
That is a nasty
Right back
scene.
here. So good.
Probably one of
And
my favourite scenes
the
in that
best
film.
bit though is the kid takes
Actually-
this like half step back as well. He goes,
Yeah. I
Hold on
know.
a second, Sloan. I'm just going to adjust my order here. Hold on a second.
Too late.
no, it doesn't work like that.
Anyway, right. Okay. So then I've got number 8, Solo. I love Solo. I love the characters and everything
Aye.
about it.
Yeah.
It turned out much better than I thought it was going to. People are petitioning for a second movie, which could happen.
I'd like it to happen. I think we should get a trilogy out of it.
I think he was
Aye.
good as Solo. He's not Harrison Ford, obviously, but
Well, no one is.
He's not far off it.
he's got the swagger. He's got the charm.
At least he can fly a plane.
What's his name again? Alden.
Armitage Shanks, I think we called him the last time.
Armitage Shanks.
Because we couldn't remember his name. I'll tell you
Alden
something,
something.
Aldo Emerson or whatever your name is. You need to get a new handle.
Aldo Emerson. And
Aiden-
Donald Glover nails it
Aiden
as
Christensen.
Lando as
Aye.
well.
Oh yeah, he's awesome.
Yeah. And Chewie, the new Chewie guy is great. You know,
I like him, actually.
He's really nailed it as well. You
I
know?
just wish I could pronounce his name.
He's another one that's got a mental big
I know he's from. I seem to have a big problem with these Scandinavian
Norwegians,
names.
Scandinavian names.
yeah.
Yeah, I know. So then I've got Rise of Skywalker's number 7. I really enjoyed that movie, and I thought for the fact that JJ had his beginning chapter ruined by Last Jedi and backed into a corner, but the story went nowhere. We learned nothing about any of the characters. The middle section with Canto Bight was so pointless. It was crushing. So what he came out with Rise of Skywalker, I thought, and he brought Palpatine back. You could say it was a cheap trick, but I think it worked.
So the big thing, so you mentioned earlier on about one of the things you don't like is about Revenge of the Sith is in the last 30 minutes he turns to the dark side and becomes Darth Vader. That's the entire Rise of Skywalker movie for me. It's just this headlong rush to get to the
I know,
end.
but do you not think it wouldn't happen that way? I've said this a million times, but if JJ had the thread all the way through, then it wouldn't happen that way.
I think you could have taken your time with it.
Last Jedi took a total detour off the beaten track. You know, it could have been so much simpler.
I think you didn't have to go and do this trip around the galaxy to pick up clues like you're in the Goonies. I think you could have done it a bit better than that. I don't think it's. Anyway,
I liked it. I liked the adventure of it.
I'll explain why.
I liked it. Next, I've got Return of the Jedi.
What number is that? What number is that?
Number 6.
Right.
Yeah. Another big favourite of mine. Like you say, James, all the set pieces in that totally perfect. Sarlacc pit, Jabba at the beginning, brilliant. I love it. The Ewoks and all that, fantastic.
Remember the Leia reveal when she's actually the bounty hunter? Oh, that's amazing.
Yes, it was.
It was so good.
I know.
I mean, I watched that with if my nieces or nephews, obviously they can't do it now, but if they're watching it with us for the first time, that alone, because they know who Princess Leia is. Mm-hmm. But when there's just like, oh, who's that? Who's that guy? And I'm just thinking in my head, I've got you now, because that's Princess Leia. Especially if it's like one of my nieces. And they're just like, I can't believe it.
I mean, as a trilogy, it's flawless, really. It's hard to see when you get to those original ones, and they've certainly Disney have certainly put a few curveballs in now because of the, Rogue One and things like that. Went, oh God, that is bloody good. But Return of the Jedi is just a great movie. Even like you say, even if you take that out of context, you'll get less from it if you haven't watched the other two, but you'll still enjoy it as a romp. Mm-hmm. It's the same as the Avengers movies. If you don't watch all 22 movies, right, you watch some of them, you'll get more of them. You'll get more from those movies if you watch all of the characters and arcs and all that.
I was just laughing because it's 22 movies in 10 years, and there's 9 movies in 42 years.
Yeah, no, easy crazy. Anyway, then I've got 5 is Mandalorian, which I love as well. I love Star Wars. There's no hate here. Mandalorian, we've spoken about it a million times on this podcast. We all love it. It's perfect. The showrunners are brilliant on it.
Yep.
4, Force Awakens, for me, when that came out, I was like, it was everything I wanted it to be. And yes, it is maybe a soft reboot of the original Star Wars, but so what? I took it, and I thought the handling of it was perfect. I think JJ understands it. I loved it. Rogue One, oh my God, like you said, James, very dark, the tone is quite adult, really.
Mm-hmm.
Total downer ending. The end scene with Darth Vader is just one of the best scenes in any Star Wars film.
Totally.
It just kicks arse. Number 2, Empire, which, like you say as well, any one of these could flip, could be my favourite one time and But Empire's got to be up there. Everybody, I think most people would say Upsilon, Empire's in their top 3, or maybe number 1. For me, A New Hope has always got to be number 1 because that was original, and that was the thing that kicked it all off. So for me, that's always number 1.
I think our list is fairly. It's not that dissimilar.
No, it's not.
Jordy?
Looking at it, it's pretty similar. Yeah.
Sloan, what about your list?
Deep breaths,
Mine's-
everyone.
Mine's. So there's a good line. There's actually a few good lines in The Last Jedi. I think it's The Last Jedi. And one of the lines is Kylo says is "Let the past die. Kill it if you have to." And I like that line.
I hate that line. That's why I hate Last Jedi.
All right,
Because
calm down.
respect your past. It should be. Anyway,
Anyhow, now I've lost my train of thought.
past die.
Let the past die.
So, I like that because I as much as I liked the original movies when I was a kid, I'm not a kid anymore, and so
You're
I
not.
want to see more movies that are aligned with how I feel now as an adult,
Mhm.
and so that's kind of where I'm going with this list.
Oh,
So
yeah,
not
okay.
to say that any of these movies are per se bad, other than Attack of the Clones, Phantom Menace, and Revenge of the Sith are arguably probably the worst Star Wars movies of the original trilogies. Anyway, I'm gonna get to it. So last but least, definitely least, is Attack of the Clones. I hate that movie. There's no redeeming parts that I hate the whole love scene part. The only good bit is, as we've mentioned before, is the Obi-Wan detective story, where he's going around finding clues. That to me is actually well paced compared to
Yeah, I like that.
Rise of Skywalker. And they could have done something similar to that in Rise of Skywalker without doing this BAMF thing every 2 seconds. I think it was really badly done in Rise of Skywalker.
Do you not like the floating apple? They brought the apple over.
No.
Kind of,
No, because it reminds me of that Red Dwarf episode where they've got the sticks and they're eating spaghetti bolognese. Or they're eating spaghetti and meatballs, and they eventually end up with it all over themselves. And that's all I could think of through the whole scene. So I was
I
like,
hate
this
that
thing's
scene.
ruined.
Apple
I hate
scene.
that apple scene. This
Okay.
kind of stuff.
I hate it too, but I just thought I'd wind up
I know
Sloan
you
a wee
did. I
bit.
know you were just toying.
Phantom Menace is second from the bottom for obvious reasons. I can't stand it. I remember seeing them. There was a movie about a fan who was dying of cancer, and they go and petition George Lucas to. Is it Fanboys? Is that what it's called?
I think it is Fanboys.
Yeah.
Aye. Yeah.
And so it's 6 months later. The friends died, and they're in the cinema, and one of them turns to the group and says, "What if it sucks?" And that's exactly what the Phantom Menace is for me. Is what if it sucks, and then you get the crawl. And I know you were saying about the political intrigue thing of it. It was just all BS to me, and I'm like, I'm out. It
Me
ruined the
too.
entire movie for me.
Mhm.
There's only a couple of good bits in it. The Duel of the Fates at the end is
Yeah,
awesome.
Absolutely. That's one of the best lightsaber fights
Aye,
Yeah.
for
of
sure.
all the movies.
Like the bit I really hate is there's 2 bits I really hate. The pod racing scene. I can't stand that bit, and the other
Goes
part I
too
can't
long.
stand
Not too long.
is the bit where young Skywalker gets in the Naboo fighter and starts taking on the army. He would have been dead within seconds. I know he's supposed to be this ace pilot and all that kind of stuff, but
They start him too young,
within a
though, don't you
second.
think?
Yeah,
In Phantom Menace, they should have started Anakin as a teenager, not a wee
yeah.
kid like that.
Well,
Far
there's
too
the
young.
yippee and all that kind of stuff.
Oh,
Anyway,
The
Young
yippee.
Annie and all that.
yippee, Annie, and
Wasn't that
In
Warwick
fact-
Davis? Wasn't he a young?
No,
Wasn't he Greedo's kid?
oh
No.
yeah, he was. Yeah, you're right.
Was-
Yeah, he was.
Oh, so he was, aye.
good.
That's right, I'm sorry. In the pod race bit. Yeah.
Well, I'm
Yeah.
sure it wasn't Greedo's kid. It's probably at that point.
And also,
maybe even Greedo.
the
Aye.
biggest thing I have with the Phantom Menace is midi-chlorians.
Mm.
Aye, I'll give you that.
Good
I
point.
mean,
I'm going to adjust my list again. Hold on a second.
that for me, the whole explaining the Force is some chemical imbalance. I'm like, I'm done. This is garbage. It's
That's
a
a good
mythical force. That's all it is. Shut up. Stop explaining it. It's a mythical force. Anyway, that's for 2 in, and I'm already could feel my face getting red.
You're so angry.
I know, I'm so angry with midi-chlorians. It just, and I love the fact it's non-canon now. The whole midi-chlorians thing is all, don't mention that. Rise of Skywalker, because again,
so low in your list.
So low in my list. The reason why it's so low in my list is because the entire movie takes place in 16 hours. And they jump from place to place to place. It's basically get this MacGuffin, go to this MacGuffin, get this other MacGuffin, and none of the MacGuffins are related to them. It's just all these crazy little, like, circumstantial clues. The first part of the sequence, the first bit where you first meet Poe and Finn, and they're on some kind of mission, and he's like bamfing through, like going to jump into light speed, hyperspace, or whatever it is. Yeah, doing that thing. That's the entire movie for me. It's like you can't. I couldn't go for a pee through the whole movie because I'd miss 4 sequences.
So basically, you don't like it because you pissed yourself.
They go, yeah. Well, it depends. People in North America will get that joke. So the bit where they go to Where Eagles Dare planet, they're there for a grand total of 2 minutes, and then they're off, and they're on Kylo Ren's Star Destroyer thing, whatever it is, the big spaceship thing. He's got command ship. There's no police around. There's nobody going like, oh, you shouldn't be parking here. There's a couple of stormtroopers that they dispatch.
Well, Last Jedi.
Yeah.
Parking attendants, and you know what I mean? Jesus.
I know.
Last Jedi.
Anyway, Rise of Skywalker is a big to me. Return of the Jedi is low on the list, just because it's okay. It's a good movie. I don't have a particular problem with Return of the Jedi. I think it's the one with the most humor in the original trilogy. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and it kind of wraps up the saga for me. I don't think we needed another Skywalker saga, which is what we ended up getting with the
Probably not,
new
to be honest with
sequels.
you, but
I thought it was kind of it tied a nice little bow around it, and it would be nice to get other people's stories, but apparently we're all hung up on Skywalker. Then after Revenge of the Sith, if only because of the no part. The actual movie, yeah, there's a lot of things that I really like in that movie. I like the whole you were the chosen one, we were like brothers speech. I love that whole thing.
Me too.
You don't get a feeling through the entire movie or that trilogy that they are actually brothers, but I love the speech.
You do.
I don't think you do. I don't think it doesn't sell it. It doesn't sell as much. There's a kind of bit of banter when they're in the elevator going up to see Padme.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's
banter.
about it. Yeah, that's good though. That bit's good.
That's the only time. And,
I like I hate it when he does that. There's kind of things like that are in it. And
I like Commander Cody.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I like Commander. He was probably one of my favorite characters, especially the when Palpatine issues the Order 66, and he instantly, after being like a completely devoted to Obi-Wan, it was just like he just pointed and just said, "Just shoot."
Yeah.
I'm a little bit obsessed with the Order 66.
Me too. I like Order 66 actually.
I like it, and that's what intrigues me about
idea.
Clone Wars. The deeper they dig into Order 66, then.
Sorry, just like cobweb. Sorry.
I thought you were like force pushing somebody away.
Cobweb.
By the way,
sorry.
So because this pandemic's going on, do you guys feel like you're force users? Because you can just walk into a supermarket and just point at people like that, and they just walk away from you. It's great.
Totally.
Anyway,
were you asking me something there, James?
Sorry.
What was I saying there? No,
Order 66.
Order
Order
66.
66.
Yeah.
I think that's the reason I like the Clone Wars so much, is because they dig into that a little bit more,
Mm-hmm.
and anything that uncovers the training or whatever, or
Yeah,
the
and this
programming.
this new season's, the final season of Order 66. Sorry, the Clone Wars brings it right up to Order 66.
Aye, so I like
As
that
well.
stuff. There was a book that took place just after Revenge of the Sith and before. Can't remember. It was about Vader, the rise of Vader, I think it was, and it spoke a lot about that stuff. Anyway, that's what interested me in it, and that's when Revenge of the Sith and Commander Cody and how he could just switch like that.
Yeah,
intrigued me. Anyway, slow and go on. Interrupted.
Sorry, it's all right. So after Revenge is Empire Strikes Back. I think.
low.
I think I kind of screwed up on this. I think for me it's swap the next one, which is Star Wars. The older I've got, the more I appreciate Empire Strikes Back more than Star Wars. Again, Star Wars is kind of simplistic kids movie, good versus evil, save the princess, literally save the princess. And Empire is much more nuanced, much darker in tone, and as an adult, much more likable. So after Star Wars, The Force Awakens, just because basically it's Star Wars but with a nice little shiny bit of polish on it, or sorry, I should say A New Hope, but with a little bit of polish on it.
I get that.
It's almost exactly the same as the previous as the original movie. In that they have like a big bad Death Star blowy uppy type planet thing. They got to save it.
Yeah,
They
that
have
was
a
the thing.
ragtag bunch of rebels,
Mm-hmm.
not resistance, but or not rebels, but resistance. And it was like it's not the Empire, it's the First Order, but everything else is the same.
I think that was the only thing that annoyed me about Force Awakens was the fact that they brought yet another Death Star, having realised that the previous Death Star had not worked. They're still peddling this Death Star thing.
Yeah. But
it's not a Death Star, so it's a planet that's.
And then it's Star Killer Base or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, it's a.
Which apparently needs to be anchored to this sun, so it's useless. It's like the ISS.
No, they harness the energy. They zap the energy out of the sun.
Yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, but they've got to be beside that sun. I mean, it doesn't move; it just stays there and kind of.
It's a planet for.
Around. Yeah.
The Death Star you can move about.
But in
still
the Last Order in Rise of Skywalker, Palpatine's been out with the old wrench and solder doing the A-Team stuff, hiding in the garage, cue the music, and he's built a fleet of all these things that have all got kyber crystals or kyber crystal type things in them, and will be able to blow up planets as well. But they don't know where up is.
You talking about Rise of Skywalker there?
See the ground.
That's
head
the
in the
order,
opposite direction.
Last order.
Is it? All right.
Final order.
Yeah. Last Orders is what you get at a bar.
When they do the next trilogy, it'll be the final order.
Well, anyway, I don't understand this whole thing about Star Destroyers not knowing which way's up. It's garbage. Anyhow, so they have to kill this beacon because apparently this beacon tells the Star Destroyers what way is up. That's the whole part of the whole shooty bit at the end of Rise of Skywalker.
Right, okay.
And if they destroy that, then they don't know which way's up. Well, it's the opposite to ground. So if you can see the ground, you're heading the wrong direction.
Okay.
Yes! It's just, Rise of Skywalker. I hate Rise of Skywalker. Yeah, you think?
Right, okay.
And then they ride horses on top of it and fight red stormtroopers. It's garbage. So above Force Awakens, I've got Last Jedi. And the only reason I put that there is to annoy Jodie.
Fair enough.
It worked.
Yeah, there you go. Although genuinely I do actually quite like that movie. It is the only one of the new trilogy I've actually watched more than once. Other than Force Awakens. I've seen that a few times, but I've seen
your mind about it.
I've seen Last Jedi.
Morant.
I think it's okay. I don't think it's that bad a movie.
I think it's
Um,
okay. It's number 4
it's
in your
okay.
bloody chart.
Oh, you
That's why
must
it's
love it.
that's why it's okay. It's not the best. Anyway, number 3 is Solo, a Star Wars story. I've
Tell
watched
me,
this a
why?
few times. Because it's so. Again, this goes back to I like the standalone stuff now. I don't really like the trilogy stuff. I'm not. I wait
You've
every
changed.
Christmas for disappointment. That's what happens. So the first one was good. Um, what do you call it? Force Awakens was good. It's just a retelling of Star Wars. The next one was uh, annoying in certain parts, like the whole bit where he's going like, I was in. That's what Yo Mama said. All the Yo Mama jokes at the start. I was like, really?
Mhm.
But then they follow it with this beautiful sequence with the bombs and Rosie's sister. That was really nice. Um, and then the Rise of Skywalker, which was just garbage for me. Like,
So wait a
I
minute, did you say that the new sequel, the new trilogy was disappointing?
yeah,
But you've got two of them in your top 5.
yeah,
Well, you just
Doesn't
must
make sense.
you must hate Star Wars then.
I do. I do. I actually genuinely. I'm not really a fan, to be honest. I'm feeling less of a fan these days. I'm getting. I feel disservice actually from Star Wars. Um,
Here's what
I
your list should
because I,
be: The
I think
Mandalorian, Star Wars, and everything else,
yeah, pretty
Yeah,
much.
I
or
know.
Yeah,
maybe swap Mandalorian and
yeah.
Star Wars, depending.
I just don't think your list makes sense. I think you're arguing against yourself here in some ways as well.
No, I don't think I am.
Right, okay,
I
carry
think the
on.
list was fine. The list was fine until I can't
You
explain it
started
anyway.
talking.
Um, it's better than your list.
Sloan, I think
Uh,
you knew.
Yeah, I think you did. You must have
um,
known. I think you're trolling us.
no, no. So number 3 is Solo Star Wars story, because it's just a standalone story, and I I kind of liked it. I thought it was fun. I didn't like the robot in it. I thought she was annoying,
No, I
and
don't
then
like
they
the robot.
basically lobotomized her and shoved her into the Millennium Falcon. Um, but the rest of it was fine. Um,
That's my
Rogue
least
One,
favourite robot in any of the movies.
I don't. She's yeah.
It's
Um,
your least favorite.
Yeah, I find her quite annoying.
she's
I
also
liked her.
called Leet as well, LE3T or something,
Yeah,
or
I find her
L3ET
quite
or
I liked
irritating.
her.
I didn't like her. It was played by
Oh.
Fleabag, wasn't
Yeah, she's
Yes.
great.
it?
Like her.
Number 1, Rogue One, because it is the best Star Wars movie they've released in the last 10, 15 years.
But finally, we're agreeing something.
Um, I told you this list was controversial. And then number 1 is The Mandalorian, because that
Yep.
is the finest thing that is on Disney Plus as far as Star Wars is concerned for me.
I think your list is almost like your more recent Star Wars you prefer because maybe you've seen the originals too many times. So now
I
that's
think
what it looks like to me. Your
so.
list.
As far as the movies, so The Mandalorian for me is number 1. The movies for me are the ones that I enjoy the most. So although the trilogy itself, the new trilogy itself, makes no sense, as standalone movies, The Force Awakens and Last Jedi are good movies, and that they deserve to be there. But the culmination of that is Rise of Skywalker, which makes no sense as far as the trilogy is concerned. Like, The Force Awakens makes sense because you need to reboot it somehow. You need to draw in the old audience, and you need to make it fun for the kids as well. And I get that, and it works. It's a good movie, and it does work. And J.J. Abrams is really good at doing that. He did it with Star Trek as well, where he brought in the old Trek guys, people, not guys. He brought in the old Trek people, but he also brought in kids, new blood, because you need new blood for these things. Um,
For
However, at some point, it loses itself, and so you end up with movies like Into Darkness, whatever it is, the one where they've got motorcycles and this strange thing where it turns out it's Idris Elba is like Khan, but we already did Khan in the previous episode. It's like, what is going on here? It's not Star Trek anymore. It's just another blockbuster actiony type movie, and that's the problem I have with um, Rise of Skywalker. Is it's just this blockbustery actiony movie just for the sake of having guns and pew pew. There's
But
no
I think
science
that
fiction in it. That's the point.
I felt when he delivered Rise of Skywalker, it was definitely the Return of the Jedi of
Oh,
that trilogy.
I mean,
And
the
because
bit
I
with the
hold Return of the Jedi
sorry.
so highly in the whole saga, that's what elevated it a lot higher up in my estimation. And I personally didn't look too deep into why did they do this and why did they do this. I just thought, I enjoyed that. I cried at the end.
Good.
And that was probably where it sat for me.
I always when I went into the Star Wars movies, in the midnight show or whatever, because I always went to the midnight show and all three of them and expecting, greatness.
Mhm.
And I find it quite tense, and the humour at the start of Last Jedi, I was like, this doesn't sound like Star Wars. And then the Luke Skywalker gag, we've been waiting for that scene. Right?
I think that
2
offended you,
years.
Jodie.
It
It
did.
It completely offended me.
And do you know what? I've tried to talk you off the ledge about
moment,
that so many times.
You can't do it.
I
Slowly,
don't understand. So the whole
every
thing
time
about
I meet Jodie at the co-op, he's just like, see that part?
Oh, I know. But the thing is,
the lightsaber over his shoulder.
The Jedi don't care about worldly goods.
No.
Jedi don't care about worldly goods.
That is him chucking the legacy over his arm. That's not just a lightsaber or
it's
a
just
bit
a
of metal.
lightsaber.
It's not. And it
I'll
is a
meet
total
him on the golf course tomorrow, and he'll still be moaning about that scene.
Can you believe Sloan last night wouldn't even defend me?
I know.
It's true. Anyway,
I don't see what the big deal is. I actually thought that was a good bit. That's one of the good bits.
I'm saying nothing.
The bit
corner from him.
The bit where Chewie's eating the porg as well, and then he turns around and like the female porg is obviously eating the dad or whatever it is, and the other porg's like, I love that bit as well. That's really funny.
no, I liked some bits of it. I liked all the Rey and Kylo bits.
Yeah. Not a big fan of the old Canto Bight scene with old Jedi boy.
No one is.
I don't mind it.
I've spoke about it so many times. Folk are like that.
Oh God, not again.
Not again.
So anyway, I think we'll all agree my list works.
I think what we'll all agree on is we all quite like The Mandalorian.
Yes, we can
but
agree
we really, really hate Attack of the Clones.
Attack of the Clones. That's probably what we can all agree on.
Yeah.
The middle part.
Aye.
I don't even think Sloan thinks agrees with his list. Anyway.
I do. I just explained it. I said they're standalone movies. They're great things to watch, but as a trilogy.
That's probably why you quite like The Mandalorian, because each episode is almost standalone.
It is, yeah. I mean, I frequently watch that show out of sequence.
Standalone.
In fact, I go like that. I go, and then I choose an episode that way. Invariably, it's always the Bill Burr episode, but there's no reason.
Oh, that's a good one.
Which episode?
The heist.
The Bill Burr, the heist one, the prisoner.
Oh, aye,
starts off as a heist, then it becomes the alien.
What's the name of the director?
Deborah Chow?
No, it's not. It's not her. It's an African American one, but he's got a Japanese sounding second name.
Yes, he does. Yeah, the black guy.
Yeah. I can't remember, but it's his episode because you see him on the set in one of the makings of it.
Right.
He just has a complete understanding of what a heist movie should be. It's just
100%.
Brilliant.
He does a great job on that.
It does,
Yeah.
So, quality. So good.
That is not the highest rated. I can't read it because I've got really, really bad eyesight.
watched the last 2 episodes back to back, and in fact we spoke about this, James,
Rick.
the other day there on the golf
Right,
course.
right.
I think
Aye.
on the in my projector.
Yep.
Brilliant, absolute dynamite.
I do like Moff Gideon. Where's that guy from?
Yeah.
I recognise him, but I don't know where
Breaking
from.
Bad.
Breaking Bad.
I haven't watched it.
I have met
Very
him.
good.
I've met him in real life.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's a very, very nice man.
Not as Moff
Come-
Gideon, obviously.
No, it was Giancarlo Esposito is his name, and he was at Comic-Con in Niagara Falls,
Mhm.
and my daughter, she wanted to get a picture with him because she knows him as Chevy Chase's brother from Community, because he was in
Right.
an episode of that. So she walks up to him and says, "Oh, hi, Ed, is it okay if I get a picture?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure, no problem." And she goes, "I loved you in Community," and he went, "What?" He's going, "Community, the show on NBC," and he went, "Oh yeah, like I was in that show." He was really nice. He talked to her for a while and stuff.
Oh, that is cool.
Yeah.
That is cool.
I'm gonna
Yep.
have to.
All
Toilet
right, well,
break.
I guess we could end now.
What? Announcing that?
Yeah. All right, we'll wait
I
for you
need,
then.
I need to go.
Jesus.
Go for it.
All right, that was great. Good discussion. So Attack of the Clones obviously sucks, and Mandalorian
Rules.
Rules.
rules. The roost. Anyway, thank you very much for coming on, James.
Mhm. Thanks for having us.
It was a good discussion as always. Heated as well, but mostly because he doesn't like Last Jedi. But thank you very much for coming on and spending your Sunday evening or Monday evening now.
Monday evening.
What day is it?
Yep.
I don't know. Tuesday.
I don't know what it
Whatever.
is.
Whatever evening it is. Thank you for spending that with us. And I think I'll let you guys go because I think that's midnight your time.
We've
Let me
gone
see.
long.
It sure
Yeah.
is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you very much. And we'll catch you in the next one. Subscribe and like and all that kind of stuff.
Stay
and
safe.
Do all those things. Yes. Stay safe.
Yeah, stay
Right.
safe.
Cheers, guys. Take care.
Cheers.
Bye.